Y'all know it's just Dale here. I'm with my boy Spear from Talk with Spear. He's been killing it all over the gram, YouTube reviews, everything. This my boy right here. We gonna talk about this Sinners. I know he gonna have a lot to say. You want to say anything before we jump into it?
I just want to say, man, thank you for letting me come on your channel, bro. I appreciate you been coming on my channel a lot, and this is my first time on your channel, so thank you, bro. I appreciate you, and it's just always a pleasure, man. We both got similar taste, and we definitely got a lot to dissect with this movie. So, man, if it happens to you, let's do it, man. So I want you to start first because this is your channel.
Okay. I'm basically just gonna start with before we go into a deep dive. Let's just start with the basics. How I felt about the film. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Every aspect of it, from the acting, the sets, the music, the themes that went on it, the story. I wasn't disappointed at all going into it. So many people tell me, "Ah, this movie's like nothing. This is phenomenal." And I'm just like, how great could the movie be? And I went to see it, and it didn't disappoint me. I'm just gonna throw a rating out there. This is as close as a 10 as I think I'm gonna get. It's like a 9.5, 10 for me. There's maybe like one or two little things, but then they're not really game-changing things for me. It's just typical stuff. How you felt about it?
I'm with you, bruh. I gotta say, I didn't really know how this was gonna work or if I was gonna like it, cause I was gonna support it anyway because it drew everything to me that I like about movies, where it was an original movie, you
Yes.
know what I'm saying? And then you had a black filmmaker who was throwing it all on the line to do an original content, and who's, has a track record of doing really excellent stuff too, and an actor who's really showcasing some really great stuff along the way too as well. So I was like, let me try it out and see if I like it. And it did not disappoint, bro. I thought the movie was amazing. It was perfect. 9.5 out of 10 for me. Yes, there was a couple of things. There was a couple of things, damn near close to a 10. Probably one of the best movies I've seen this year so far. I seen a lot of movies. There were some really good ones, but this was like you could tell that this was sure craftsmanship of a very competent director who had a definitive idea and executed on so many levels. And I got nothing like this. The stuff that I got to say, the gripes I got to say about the movie is not even like major. It's just minor stuff that you did. Probably the same thing that you feel about it, but I gotta give it to Ryan Coogler, bro, and he executed this movie very well, and we needed this. Shit, is he needed this movie, not just for like not just for the box office and IP and stuff like that. People was talking about they want to support original movies, not just for that, but for like culture references and culture because I think this is a good representation for us, but not just for us. There's just so many representation in this movie, which we
Yes.
covered it, and I think we needed this because it's showcasing that hey, black people don't just make black cinema; we make movies, and the more you keep throwing it out there that black artists are not just making cinema for black audience, but for everybody to watch. That's when you can wholly get the whole experience, and then that's when you start to get more creative and get more people to put more stuff out and take more chances. So yeah, I think it's a win on both aspects of it. But man, yeah, it's damn near like a 10 out of 10, like you said, bro.
Yeah. I have to agree with everything you said there. Like this movie was much more than just this movie. It has so much to it. It's gonna touch so many people on so many different levels. It's something that I'm probably gonna watch several times just because I want to grasp everything all together. But we could just move into like, you want to start with the good, the bad? What you want to start with?
We can start with the good, man. Like we can start with like the actors.
I,
Like
the kid who I believe his name is Miles something. Clay,
I think that's the name.
yeah, he played Preacher's son. What's his name? Sammy in the movie.
Yeah.
Blew out of this world. Blew my mind. I've never seen this kid before. Never heard anything from him. When he opened his mouth, it's almost like, is that really his voice when he's talking and singing? And the way he played that role to me was phenomenal. I think to act alongside like Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan and all of these people and to be able to pull that off next to these seasoned actors, I
Uh-huh.
have to say he wowed me the most. He was amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was phenomenal, and yeah, that was his real voice. The man was on tour with her, and when he got the role, and he taught himself how to play the guitar while he was on tour, and he just killed the performance, man. Like, and this is his first movie.
Yeah.
So, to act alongside veterans like Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and Daryl Orlando, he knocked it out the park, man. Michael B. Jordan in this movie playing Smoke and Stack. So I learned that Jonathan Majors was originally supposed to be Stack, and it is
Fun. Interesting.
I just found out that he was originally supposed to be Stack, and due to the allegations and stuff that were going on behind him, he couldn't do it. Um, so he ended up playing twins. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Michael B. Jordan fan,
Mhm.
but this movie, he killed the performance as playing the difference of Smoke and Stack. Smoke was more, like, just yeah, just like on business all the time.
Business, stoic. He was all of that.
Yes, very stoic, very moderate, but there was a vulnerability when he got around old girl, chick that was in the movie, and, yeah, but Stack was more laid back, fun, just
Yeah,
very charismatic. Yeah,
that talk.
he had that talk, and, I think this is probably my favorite performance from Michael B. Jordan. I know everybody keep talking about Killmonger. Listen, when he was Killmonger, I'm just like, yo, he slick almost come across a little corny when he was doing Eric Killmonger.
You ain't like Killmonger? I like Killmonger.
I like the story of Killmonger, and I like his presence as Killmonger, but the way he was delivering some of the lines, it just came off a bit cheesy, just a bit cheesy.
Yeah, I can see what he said. Some of the stuff where he's just like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
But in this, he there was a confidence in him, and also, I think he had a little bit of a stretch in this than he did in Killmonger. Not to say that he didn't that the subject matter wasn't heavy as him being in Killmonger, but this was like a bit of a stretch because he's not only playing one character, he's playing as two characters. So he has to differentiate each of the brothers to showcase like, okay, this is Smoke and this is Stack, and he had to really
See him already.
yeah. And so I just think from an acting standpoint, to me, this was more a better performance from him. And not to say that he didn't do good in anything else. I think this wasn't like your typical Michael B. Yeah, there was some Michael B elements in there, but it's still just like it was a solid performance from him. And I enjoyed his performance playing both the brothers. He was great in the movie.
Yeah. All right.
What's your
I
that?
agree with that. I agree with it. I understand what you're saying about the Killmonger thing, and even when he played Creed, I get it. It was a little more just in your face aggressive, where here he had a chance to be more mature, laid back, but still, have that presence where he didn't have to yell and scream all of his lines all the time. Is this your king? And all this, but he could still be intimidating by just saying certain things, He could be intimidated in this movie just by saying, hey, go do that over there. We not doing, it was more of a calm strength and when he played Smoke so much than the Killmonger or even Creed, which was more of a, just in your face thing. I get what you're saying there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's what kind of gave it that Killmonger, that little bit of like Marvel superhero cheese to it, because some of those lines were just so straightforward in your face. Here is a little more subtle with things. And he played two completely different characters. They were different enough to the difference, but they were similar enough for you to be like, okay, yeah, those could be brothers. So I think he knocked it out the park with that.
He did an amazing job in this movie. There was so much you both of these brothers was in love with two different styles of women. The actress that Smoke was in love with, I seen her in Lovecraft Country and in this show on Max where it was called We Own the City with John Berthal. It was produced by the same dude who did The Wire. I
Mm.
can't pronounce her name, but I seen her in a few things. She was like the witch doctor and Hindu and believed in all the spirits and stuff. She was great in the movie, and like she is in everything else she does, she was fantastic in the movie. So I think their relationship was there was a backstory behind it. There was a lot of stuff that went on in the past between them. They elaborated that, and there was a real kinship in it. And I thought he played that they both played that really well, and she was phenomenal in the movie. What you think about her?
Well, Eddie, if anybody got this far and y'all ain't know, there's gonna be spoilers. We talking about everything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Here's something y'all know. But yeah, I thought she was good. I'm not really familiar with her like that. Like I've seen her a little bit in Lovecraft, but I'm not really familiar with her that well. And her acting to me was great. Like everything she said, everything she did, I felt like she believed it. It came across really well. She played good opposite Micheal B Jordan. I think it looked like they actually had chemistry in the movie, and her character was great. It was needed. It helped some of the exposition and get out what is going on. And I think she handled it really well without making it seem, out of place or like, oh, she's just here to tell a story of vampires or whatever it may be. So yeah, I think she did great.
And no, not to make this like sexist or anything like that, but she was built like how women look like in that time period. And I was think, yeah, and she was fine. So
I was
like
gonna say that I applaud that. I applaud that for making her look like a real woman of the time, and she looked great. And it was great to see her, Michael B. I was just like, hey man, this is it right here. This what I'm talking about.
exactly, like, she was a full figure woman, and I wasn't even mad at that. I was like, "Yo, that's how it is. It's how we likes us some full figure women, and she looked amazing."
Yep.
Uh, but that was Smoke interest, and yes, you were 100% right. She knew exactly what they was the moment they hit, and she just knew exactly what to do. And I felt like she was great, like you said, for the exposition of the story and telling the story, and help carry the story along with her character. And her character played a major role in this. So she was great in it, as she was in Lovecraft Country as well. Haley Steinfeld, bro. Miss Gwen, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. Um, I didn't think. I mean, I knew she was great, but this seemed way more mature than anything she's ever done.
Yeah.
I seen her in Bumblebee and
Right. Right.
as in Hawkeye, and this is like a really mature movie. And I was like, damn. I looked at her age, she almost 30 years old. I was like, "Oh, okay, it makes sense." But
Yeah,
this
because it's like always playing someone that seems like they're such a young character all the time.
yeah, but she was like she represented, which I feel there's a lot of women that's like biracial, like that may have some black in them, and then they just kind of brung up in that culture
Mm.
where they can bypass as being white.
Right.
And she just played I think she played that really well, especially her interest in the movie where that was Stack's love interest, and when the moment she sees Stack off the rip, she just go off on him, like the black mom does.
Uh, he said, "Oh yeah, maybe she not white."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she didn't put her foot off the gas any part of the movie, and also it revealed that there was a love story with her and Stack. Like, you know, he explained why because she was mad at him for just abruptly leaving without giving her any type of warning and anything like that. But then in the middle part of the movie, he explained why he did it, and he wanted her to move on, and she did. She got married to a white dude and got a family, and he's rich and everything like that, and that's what he wanted for her, but that's not what she wanted.
Right.
She wanted him, and, he explained to her that, "Look, we in Clarksdale, Mississippi in the '30s. Us being together is not gonna work."
Nah, good look. Nah, good.
Yeah, it won't work, and he's just being realistic to her where it won't work, but I think she played in her tropes really well, and she executed it, the performance, bruh. Even when she got bit and became a vampire, which I got some things I wanna say about how she turned, but, yeah, she killed it, playing all the characters. What you think?
Um, I think she had a strong performance. I feel like her role. I thought her being who she is and her star power, just known outside of the film, like top billing wise, like Michael B. Then I would say she's probably the next famous person in that line. Like as of right now, I thought she was gonna have more of a role, but it seemed like Ryan Coogler made the roles kind of dispersed almost evenly amongst the cast. So her role wasn't as significant as I thought it was going to be, but what she did have, she played really well. I think she played really well. Um, I must say, her before becoming a vampire was good, and her after becoming a vampire was good too. So she also had two sides of her that she played that was pretty good and pretty convincing.
Yeah, and I do see why Shamar Moore went crazy over her, 'cause it's yeah, Shamik Moore, Shamik Moore, yeah, Alex Morales. Nah, yeah, not to confuse Shamar Shamik Moore, 'cause yeah, she was pretty hot in that movie, and I was like, "Oh, wow."
They say, "I see what he's seen there." We didn't see it because she was a cartoon. When Gwen Stacy, we didn't know what he was seeing. He was in that recording booth.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, but like I see why, and even in the press tours, like she looked amazing, and but she's finna get married. But yeah, I see why Shamik Moore went a little crazy though. But outside of her being gorgeous and beautiful, she's a great performer, and I think her timing of this movie is good because you see all these kind of actors around her age kind of stepping up, and I guess she figured like, yo, it's time for me to kind of squeeze myself in those positions. So I think this movie gonna catapult her into more mature roles after this.
What do you think about the story? Because the story in the film was that her mother's father was biracial. He was
Yeah.
black and white. And then I seen her in an interview say that that's actually true to her life in actual real life. And I'm wondering, do you think that was in the script before she got put in there, or Ryan Coogler put that little piece in after she was already in that role just to match her real life? That's what I wondered. Because I'm like, man, that's kind of spot on. Like, did he get that from her real life, or did he have that in mind and then got her? What do you think?
I don't know, man. That's a good question, bro. Because he probably found out that she had that, because she has talked about her being Philippine and a quarter of a black
Mhm.
and some British, and I think she got some German ancestry in her as well. That's I don't know, bro. That would've been slick if he did that. I wondered did he already had that character written in mind,
Mhm.
or did he just add those in there just to kinda, like, give her character a little bit spice, because she just hanging around like this black club with all these black folks in there, and it's just like she just stick out like a sore thumb.
Mhm.
But she clearly is comfortable being in that setting because that's what she knows.
Twisted, yeah. Yeah.
And so, and that's not like too far because there's a lot of people that's like women or men that's like biracially,
All of them.
they have that in them, but they can go off and be white and get a pass because they way they look, but they seem to be comfortable being in spaces with blacks and just like having fun. You know what I mean? So or whatever. So I don't know, man. That's a good question, bro. That's a really good question. I don't know. I wish we could interview that man.
Yeah. If I ever get a hand on Ryan Coogler, that's one of the things I'm gonna ever have to ask.
That'll be a good question though, but it worked. It worked
Yeah,
for
work
her.
on it.
And but yeah, she played it really well, and I'm glad it was her and not like getting like a mixed race character. I'm glad it was just somebody like that. I think they just
Yeah,
worked just fine
it
for her.
worked well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, like Errol London, I mean, what can we say about him?
He does his thing. He does what he does. He comes and he brings what he brings, and
There's nothing less or short with that guy. The fact that he's never been nominated for an Academy Award or never got seen in anything, like it's a shame, bruh. So many great performances from him. Um, they did the Better Box thing when they asked you like your 4 favorite movies and stuff like that, right? And he just kinda put some of his stuff in there, and he was in Malcolm X and The Five Blood, and I was just saying, like, his performance in Five Blood was just wow.
yeah,
So, I mean, we can't really say too much about Delroy because he's just a phenomenal actor, like,
he's never disappointed.
yeah, he's the most seasoned actor in the group, and he just nails it. The moment he's in the frame and the moment he's out of frame, when he sacrificed himself to make sure they got out, that's just like him just like, yo, it's whatever. But he played good as an old blues musician who was out of jail. There's a bit of a drunk. And they just, Stack tried to recruit him and he was telling Stack, like, no, I got this other thing. I ain't finna need this other thing to come to you that may be short lived. I ain't finna mess that up. But then when Stack pulled out that beer, that Irish beer, he's like, man. And he said, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, yeah.
And he had to trust the boy, the Miles character, Sammy. He had to trust him as a musician, see can he really deliver. And once he saw that, he was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm for sure in.
So yeah, let's talk about that. What? How? Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen like a rated R horror film where the music was so important and mixed into the story like this. Like the music was a part of the story here. Like it's hard. You can't just separate and use these songs for anything. That music was important. Without the music, I think it would have took the film down a notch. How did you feel about the music?
The composer is Lewin. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, yeah. He does a lot of scores and stuff. He's guys out of his world.
This that out of this world is an understatement. He in a whole nother atmosphere. He There's a reason why he has 2 Oscars. He won for Black Panther and he won for Oppenheimer. Um, the dude is just out of this world conceptually, just a musical genius. The way he made this music and the way he was able to blend that sequence where Ryan Coogler was spoiling things, right? There was a sequence then this way. Yeah, when Miles was singing, and it just kind of like it was just this montage of every that genre of black music getting played at the same time. His crazy ass was able to mix all that together because he went from African music to hip hop to DJing to rock music, all that showing how much influence we have in music right now and how the world is getting so much of it, but it also got taken away from us too. That's a whole nother story. But how he was able to transcend all that into one mix, I was like, this dude is fucking crazy, man.
That scene to me, oh man, in the theater, I was amazed at that. I was just like, what am I looking at? At first, I'm like, you see the first character, I think it's like a guy with a guitar, or like a futuristic guitar, like electric guitar. And I'm like, am I see why is he there? And then it took a little bit for me to realize what was going on. And I see the DJ and I was like, this is genius. This is genius. Like that scene was genius. That was a genius scene.
It was the genius thing, and I had a friend who do reviews too. He couldn't understand, what they're saying, but he said, "I don't know, man, it seemed like a student made that scene or something." I was like, "No, no, 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 let me explain to you what that scene was about. That was a celebration of Black culture, of Black music. All what started with the blues, which really started with jazz, but it started with African music, and then it translated to all that, but what he did was compact of all the music that's influenced off of Black and Black culture and blend it together, showing how we transcend music and time. And the way he blend all that together and conspired all that music together and made it into like this big mix, that was incredible. And I love the scene. I love the music in the movie. Even the folklore song, he turned that up too.
When he started doing like the Irish jig, like after some of the people turned, and he started turning up with the music, I was like, yo, the music in this movie is insane. Like, it's great. It was great. It was great music.
Yeah, so that composer, he probably gonna get another Oscar for this movie. If he don't, then yeah, the music is incredible. I want to touch on the villain of this movie, and I want to like ask you, do you really? Jack O'Connell was the actor that played the villain, the head vampire, and
His name was like Rennick or something like that.
Yeah, Remick, yeah. When you first see him, he's running from the Eastern Species.
Yeah, right. The Native Americans.
Yeah, the Native Americans, and I wanted to kinda know a little bit backstory with them too, but they was chasing him because they knew who what he was, and, he looked all beat up and stuff like that. Looked like they've been torturing him for a little minute, and, he turned up off the rip when he got to that house, and he noticed when he got there, it's funny because he looked the camera went inside the house when the dude was holding the gun at him. He saw the Klan's outfit up in there,
Mhm.
which, like, let's go back to the story, Smoke and Stack, like, they bought the juke joint from a guy who he was like was Grand Master of the Klan, but they didn't know that. They didn't know any of it. They knew he was racist for sure,
Mhm.
but they was like, "Okay, well, Green can bypass all this shit. We pay you, get the space, and you get the hell out of here." But of course, dude had ulterior motives
Yeah.
behind it. But yeah, he see that, and that's when I was like, okay. And then when the indigenous people left, the Indians left. He killed the husband off the rip, and the husband came back and killed the wife, and they both became vampires just that quick. And then it go from there to them heading to the juke joint spot and trying to get in. So, what you think about him as a is was he a villain, or was he trying to liberate people? Because what did you think about his character and like the complexity with him? Because Ryan, one thing that somebody pointed out to me, Ryan is good at making his villains kind of complex. Like sometimes you can kind of side with them a little bit because you kind of see it from their point of view on why there's always a motive to why they do what they do.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what you think?
I think the character for me, just how I got it, I definitely seen that he had like some type of emotional attachment to things. He wasn't just like a mindless villain, like some villains just like, I want to destroy the world. He wasn't one of those type of villains. He did have motives and he did have a point of view, but I still seen him as a villain because of the way he went about things, where it was like, I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna cheat, I'm gonna steal, I'm gonna force. He didn't really do anything on the up and up. Like everything he did for the most part, except for the few times he was honest about, hey, we could all be together, but it still always felt like something wasn't right with this guy. From the first time we seen him running on fire till we got to the door, and it just seemed like his something right wasn't right with him. So I do feel like he was a proper villain off of that in the way that he was just like forcing people to become a part. Like when he went in there and ate dude, I don't think he asked him first if he wanted to join. I think he just bit him.
Yeah, he just bit him. He just bit him, and plus he was weak at that moment when he bit him, so he needed the blood to kinda get him back. Um, and like Miles, Sammy's the character that Miles played in the movie. He heard his music. That what brung him to there. Like the music was so good that he just like he had to see him because he said like I want him. That's the
Yeah,
guy.
he wanted him. He said, I want him, his music. I need him.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, and then he was Irish. And yeah, he was very manipulative. And but like when they wasn't letting him in, see, this the part. This is one of the things that I was just thinking about too. That I think there was like a terrible character choice with Haiti Seinfeld character. She was like, "Look," she was telling Stan like, "Look, y'all need money because when they was in the juke joint, none of those people had money to pay for the alcohol." And Smoke was complaining like, "Yo, this is a business. We not running no like charity for these people. I love them, but like we in the business of making money, and this alcohol we got is not, it's not cheap." So she was like, "Look, y'all got all this wine, this good liquor, and y'all just getting pennies and dimes on it. These white folks out here may got some money. So let me kind of like play my white role, like she said she was gonna do, and see can I get them to come back and spend some money." Not knowing what his motives was, which was to kill all of them and turn them all into vampires. But I was just like, I think it was a crazy character choice to let her go out there by herself to talk to them. Cause even though, like, they said that they weren't gonna let them in, and he was making a big deal like, "Well, you got her in there, she's white." But it's like, okay, they were sitting outside because they knew, like, eventually when the juke joint was over,
Hmm.
they were gonna kill all of them outside anyway. So I was just saying to them, like, me and my friend was, like, going back and forth, like, "She was stupid going out there by herself, man. She the reason why all this shit came around." I said, "No, no, 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 no. They woulda got them eventually when they was gon go walking outside. They was sitting outside waiting for them to come out." So, some people's like, "That's what happened when you date a white woman, man." It's like, "No, no." I say, to some extent, yes, but nah, I ain't gonna sit there and say it was her. Now, when they bit her, she came back in, they didn't know because she didn't showcase any signs of, like, struggle or anything like that. So, yeah, man, what you think about that, man?
You brought up a good point. They were out there waiting, so eventually, yeah, as long as they didn't party until the sun came up, when they came out, they probably would have started attacking people. I think I truly think that him letting her go out, I think he was just kind of just blinded. He had a soft spot for her. He wanted to get money because his brother was on his ass. Like I think he just had a moment of weakness and was just like, should take care of it. He did give her a gun, so he did have some type of thought of something could be up. But yeah, I think it was a bad choice for her to even want to do it, and
Yeah.
there's a weakness in him for letting her do it. So yeah, I think they would have out there anyway. They weren't leaving. We seen that they weren't going to leave. They were going to stay around.
Nah, they were gonna wait till the a few of them even left. They were gonna attack them anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, man, the vampires, he didn't change anything about the lore of vampires, like, it's the traditional vampire. He didn't add no new flavors to them or nothing like that. The only thing is that I never seen a vampire movie that had a musical number in there where the vampires actually singing. That was crazy, and then I was, like, bopping to it. I was like, "Oh, they doing the Road to Dublin, to me."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, shit." And, he said that there's a correlation with blacks and Irish, which is true because we both were slaves to like the Europeans. So that was like they had music that bop and then we did too. So that was like a he was trying to show that there's a correlation with the black and Irish you know, togetherness with the movie. So I thought that was great to kind of showcase that too. And just they were just out there having a good old time with their music and stuff like that.
Yeah. The
What do you so bad about it saying
Yeah, I like how he did the musical aspect and how their music grew as they started overtaking more people. Like when they first came and they was just like, no, it was like ukulele, just basic bass line stuff. And it was like, okay. And they were like, what the? But by the time they had a few people and he was out there doing the jig, their music was upgraded to it was real. It was a lot better. And it showed the progression in that how they integrated the cultures into their music and it kept building. I think the music part of it was great. Like like I said, the music was phenomenal. The way it integrated into the story worked out very, very well. And him wanting to get Sammy so bad because he heard the music, it all played into it. That's probably the only thing I can say as far as vampires from what I know, watching vampire movies and things like that, that was something I never seen was the musical aspect and the vampires being called to the music and wanting to be like, oh, we want this to be a part and sort of like the hive mind thing they had going on where they could like feel certain things that he was feeling. I think he kind of did a little bit more on that a lot of I think I've seen one other movie where they had like a hive vampire mind maybe one or two, but usually they don't do that. But everything else was typical vampire stuff. You got to invite them in, the garlic weakness, the steak, all of that. He kept all of that in line, so you knew what you were dealing with. It wasn't like no big variation. Like, are these vampires or not? Those are vampires, clearly.
yeah, so yeah, he kept the lore of the vampire and I appreciate that and they all was very vicious. They had that little extra slime on the side of their face and that was nasty as hell when like you yeah, still drool and shit, 'cause they were doing yeah, that was nasty as hell. But, yeah, 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 hey, I think he did a great job on the vampire aspect, so I think we covered everything about the good. Is there anything else that we left out?
That was the major things for me. I think we got over all the major good stuff.
Nice. So what were some of your gripes, with the movie? And I'll talk about mines.
Let me see if I could just recall a few of them off the top of my head. And some of them are really just like little nitpicky things. Like just understand, some of them is just like me. Like the Native American thing. I wish we got a little more. Yeah, what going on there? I felt like we could have had a little more with that. Um, the way that the vampires actually came in, I enjoyed it, but um, the Chinese guy, I forgot his name. I think his name was like Bo or something in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't really like his transition out of the film. I think he was important enough to give him a little bit more of something, not just, "Hey, I'm going to get the car," and then he comes back and someone is getting eaten by a vampire, and he's just like, "Hey, come on, let's go." Like I was like, he's not even self-aware. Like at least some of the other guys seemed self-aware when stuff was going on. I was like, I don't know. That was kind of a little bit weird to me. But yeah, those are probably the major things. The major things is just I wish they expanded on more things, but I understand it's a movie, time constraints, things like that. But I really just wish a few other things could have been expanded upon, but maybe we'll get some more material around there. Besides that, pretty much good. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of something here and there that I didn't really enjoy too much.
Um, okay. The indigenous people, yeah, I wanted to know a little bit about them. Actually, I thought they was at some point, I thought they was gonna show up at the place.
I was hoping they was gonna show up towards the end.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna show up at the end and maybe he'll fight them off with them and explain to them
Yeah, at least give them some insight or something.
yeah. So, but we just never saw them again. So that was kinda like a bummer because I wanted to know how they caught able to catch him and what their correlation with the vampires and stuff like that. And of course, Michael B. Jordan smoked character, his girlfriend knew about them a lot more, and that would help them out. But I kind of feel like if he had brought the Indians back some type of way, they could have like helped out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool though. It's fine. And like I said, the Haley Seinfeld, she went out there by herself with a gun, and she was on her like white woman type thing, like, hey, I'm doing it to me, da 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 da. But I just think that was stupid too, cause it's like you saw how weird they was acting at the door, and you went out there anyway just to see can you get them to come back in. I just like, eh, I didn't buy that too much. I just think that, if I see 3 white people hanging out my door and it's my woman, I'm probably gonna go out there with her just to kinda, like, look over just to make sure everything good, but he didn't do that. She came back off the rip and came back in as a vampire and bit his ass, but had sex with him first and then bit him.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, but, and I think Ryan Coogler just couldn't land his plane on the ending of it. I think there was so many endings, and it's like, well, damn, bro, like, what you trying to say? Are you gonna give us another one of these, or you just kind of like, because it just felt like he couldn't just land his plane on just that ending. It was just so much other things, and I was just like, well, I don't know, like, how many endings we finna have?
Yes.
So what you think about the all the endings that he was giving us at the end?
He could have ended the movie right at the end of the night where Sammy went he left. That could have been the ending right there. It also could have ended when Sammy went to the church and his father. I think that was a proper ending. The whole shootout scene with the KKK and everything, I felt like that was a bonus he just wanted to add on. And
Yeah.
he had to get, yeah, that just had to get out because in the full context of the movie, that scene necessarily was not needed to end the film. But he had to get it out, so he got it out. It was entertaining. I watched it. Hey, why not?
I wasn't mad at that one because you had to finish off Smoke because Smoke, not only did he lose his brother, but he lost the love of his life too, and he didn't have anybody. So what he had left was to take out the Klansmen members that was gonna kill us anyway, take them out. And my whole thing with that, when Remy was explaining to him, like letting them know, like, hey, they was coming to kill y'all anyway.
Yeah,
They work for the Klansmen. I read all that. He said, I just so happened to land with them. It was just perfect timing. So, if you join us, we can take them out too and just make them all in one. But Smoke took them out. I thought that was satisfying, but his story needed to have a conclusion because he lost everything. So I was like, he gonna probably die killing all them Klansmen. And that's what ended up happening. And then, he saw his woman with they
his death to me was kind of like because he went out and he was in the afterlife, and she was like, "Hey, stop smoking the cigarette." And he came back and he finished shooting up the guy. He killed the guy. And he was going out, and I was like, Ryan Coogler did it in such a way that if he wanted to continue the character, he could, because they didn't actually complete his death. He was like in between. Like he could literally just continue it on if he wanted to. So I think that scene might have been the more significant part. Was we don't know what happened to him exactly, because they could have really showed his death. They could have had the cousin say something like, he died or something, but they didn't even meant like it was just that. I would have thought they would have said something later, like Sammy would have been like, Smoke died for me, or he died the next day or something. It just like he didn't exist. It just ended for him.
another thing. If these vampires were so bloodthirsty, like they just had an uncontrollable urge to just kill and suck blood, how did Stack maintain that much resistance against his brother Smoke to where Smoke told him like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you go, just don't hurt Sammy." Like, I didn't understand it. Like, when him and Haley's, Seinfeld character pull up married, when they pull up in the club at the end, when they see the older Sammy, I was like, "How the hell did they make it out of there?" 'Cause we didn't see them die.
Right, right.
So
Oh, yeah, we didn't. Yes. I just took it. There's a few lines in there that, and this is just me speculating, but there's a few lines in there, like when Smoke's girlfriend said, vampires are different. Your soul is still trapped in there with them. It made me think that maybe Stack still had some of his, his soul enough in there to kind of resist for a little while. And also when Rennick died, it just seemed like they kind of lost like a connection. So maybe he was, because he wasn't the same as the rest of them. There was definitely something special about him. And I know they said they don't turn back after, but it seemed like after he died, maybe like some of their bloodlust went down or something. I don't know. But I would like to see now who is the leader of that whole vampire org now that he's gone. Because do they all just go off into their own, or do they have somebody who's the main guy? Because his eyes would turn red, and he was like the main guy. They all followed his lead. So what happens after he died? I don't know. Maybe they were kind of just, left to being somewhat normal.
Yeah, and, 'cause they just walked up in there, and I was just like, "Stack." But see, before when he was about to stab him, Remy was still alive.
Yeah,
So, he made that promise to him, there was no guarantee that he was gonna do that. So, maybe after Remy died, that's when he just remembered the promise, and then he just said, "I promised him that I wasn't gonna hurt you."
because also if you notice, when he tried to bite Smoke, he had the thing on it. He was like resisting from biting him. It was real subtle, but he couldn't bite him. Every time he got near the charm that the girl made for him, he would like stop. So maybe that had some type of effect on him too, to protect
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like the fact that Stacks didn't kill him. He gave him an opportunity, like, yo, I see that you almost to the end of your rope. I could change that, you know what I'm saying? I can get you, living a little bit longer. And he was like, nah, I done seen everything, bro. And, he let them play the music, play the blues music to them. They sat down and listened, and then they just paid him the money and left. And then he said, like, he told him that that was like the happiest day of his life. Like, do he feel the same? Said, yeah, I felt the same because that was the last time I saw a sunrise. That was the last time I spent with my brother. We had fun that night. Everything was coming together. So yeah, that was the best time of my life. So and then he ended up with the love of his life too, because they genuinely loved each other, you know? And at a time where they couldn't be with each other, that whole thing ordeal made it to where they could be with each other.
Yep.
So yeah, and I'm sure they go on hunts every night together. Big. So yeah, man, but I mean, like I said, it wasn't there's not too much to say that was just bad with the movie. It actually was a well put together, well thought out movie. And I think it's going on my list. It's probably like one of my favorite vampire movies. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite horror movie because it's beyond just a horror movie. It's actually like
Yes. That's what I try to explain to people. They're like, "What?" I'm like, yeah, technically it's a horror movie, but don't go into it thinking like traditional horror movies. It's not like that. It's like a different mix. It's a different mix.
it's a case study of not just black culture, but the correlation with black and Irishmen. And it touched on like Asian people being in the South
Yeah.
in the Jim Crow era. It talked about the relationship with that. It touched on so many different things in the movie where you could take some things and just kind of like, oh wow, I didn't know that, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know this. So it was beyond just a typical straightforward horror movie. It was like it was just showing culture,
Mm.
but it also showed, these two dudes who lived a very rough life, who escaped from abuse and went to and lived a rough life, but they had each other backs no matter what. And both of them had military experience, and they both went to Chicago and worked for Capone for a minute, and probably ripped Capone off and stole his Mika and a butt. And like that, they didn't touch on that much neither.
There definitely a lot of backstory that could be explored.
Yeah, and the character that Miles plays, Sammy, that was a mirror to Robert Johnson because that's that crossroad that Robert Johnson was at, like, do you sell your then and this whole thing with sinners, like, do you sell your soul to the devil or, to be the artist that you wanna be, or do you just go ahead and just be this typical church-going people? And it's not knocking religion. I didn't take that as a knocking religion, but it's just like when you're an artist and you just gifted with something, you gotta go with your gut feeling, you know? So that's just a true like artistry they did. And he chose what he wanted and he didn't put that guitar down. It's like he not finna put this guitar down. He love it too much. It's something in him that just gotta like tell that tell his story through that guitar. And he did that. I think I think everything has some motive behind it, each character. Each character had a motivation behind them, and I think he told it masterfully well. Every character has something, even Remy's character. He wanted to have a correlation with everybody, but he also wanted to change everybody because he wanted to be the head leader. And what was he running from other than the indigenous people? Turn Remy.
There was the whole story back there when he was saying when his friend, like, he had people that were killed somewhere. He had mentioned it somewhere, like he wanted to connect with his lost people or something. So there's so much world building that was done here. It's like, man, we can only do but so much in this 2 hour time frame, but he really set up to where he can use all these parts and different stories of all of these characters. There's a lot there. There's a lot.
My one of my friends was trying to like say is Ryan Coogler gonna give Jordan Peele a run for his money. I said, I don't want to compare neither one of them because I think they're both, yes, they touch on subject matters that's almost the same, but I think their approach artistically is completely different. So I don't think Ryan is trying to give Jordan a chase with his money. Plus, Ryan has done different genres of films. Like he did Creed, she showed you he could do a boxing movie. He did Black Panther, he showed you could do a superhero movie. Now he just did like this horror movie and he just showed you could do that. But what he does is bring some type of cultural relevancy in everything that he tells in the story. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the main theme with Ryan Coogler is always the culture, but the genre changes. I feel like with Jordan Peele, he's psychological thriller horror. He's in that realm usually all the time. I don't really see him breaking out of it. He's really good at it. So I don't really compare them because of that. Like you said, Ryan Coogler's more he bounces around from genres. He's always just about culture and storytelling. And yeah, Jordan Peele, you're gonna get some thriller elements. You're gonna get some horror elements. That's where he's at, no matter what he does. And he does it great. So yeah, I don't really like to compare them either.
What do you think? Did you like? So we both said that this movie's a 9.5 out of 10. Like, how do you feel about people that's already trying to like trash? Because your boy Ben Stiller, out of everybody, defended this movie because there was some skin there, and I thought that was like great of him because Ben know. I think people know how important this movie needs to be, but also like we at this place now where everything is IP driven, and how often do you get something from I dare to say a master filmmaker now, that's telling something original and trying to like give us something that's unique. How often you gonna get that and you wanna put out a bullshit story that, "Oh, the movie only made $60 million, they gotta make up half of that for marketing and da, 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 da." That's not the point. The point is that you had 60 million people that came out to see this movie domestically. We haven't seen that in a long time with an original IP. So, what do you think that this is gonna be for, like, Ryan and Michael B? Because I think this movie will do like, past his numbers. It cost 90 million. I project it going up to, like, $200 million. It could go more. How do you feel like what you
I feel like it has a strong word of mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel like if this movie does successful? Because this is my thing with this. If it does great, that's good for both of them. That means that they solidified in Hollywood. That's it. So, would that means that would people go out and see more original stuff, or they gonna go out and see original stuff with a name tied to it? Because as history has shown us, people go out to see movies that is like Steven Spielberg names are tied to it, or Quentin Tarantino names inspired to it. So is it gonna be like one of those things, or are people gonna actually go out and see original stuff?
Just me, what I think it's always hard to sell people on original things from newer directors. I just think it's really hard. Like you got to have a great hook or like a great marketing or a great story behind it because people are just so IP driven right now. It's insane. So I think for those type of films that are not like sequels or reboots and stuff like that, they're really they really are driven more on the back end. I think the initial time, first time in the theaters, they get a little recognition, but if it's good, the momentum builds. They go to streaming, then everyone knows about it, then everybody wants a sequel. I feel like things like A Quiet Place was kind of like that. It wasn't a phenomenal hit, but people who seen it in the theaters was like, "Oh, this is kind of different. This is good." And then later it got so big and then they did the second movie, the third movie I didn't love so much, but that's besides the point. Uh, I feel like Ryan Coogler has such a crazy track record with big blockbuster films that he's not really gonna change the scope of like lower budget, independent or new stories just because he's already such a big name with Black Panther and Creed and things like that. People are just going to attach it to, well, it's Ryan Coogler, it's Ryan Coogler. It's original story, but it's Ryan Coogler. It's kind of like uh who else does a lot of that? M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
His name carries his movies, even if they're not great. It's because it's him. Because if anybody else would did those movies, they probably wouldn't get half the people coming to check it out. So I kind of feel it's
It's gonna be forever the name of that person because people resonate with him with Black Panther and Creed. So you was a fan of Creed, you was a fan of Black Panther, you're gonna go see it no matter what. And now Sanders, see, this is good for him because Sanders is original and it's do well. That means that he's a household name now. Him and
yeah,
Michael B was already one, but
yeah.
he stamped his approval now.
What I think it will do though, not from the movie goer's perspective, but from the movie studio's perspective, I think they're going to be looking more closely at original stories because they're like one of these could really work if we get the right original story. I think this is going to open the eyes of a lot of studios. Like we don't need part 8, 9, 10 of this or a reboot of this, or we don't got to reboot this again. We could get some original stories on the cheap, produce them, and they could be great movies. So I think it's going to give a lot more people a chance.
Shout out to Ben Stiller for doing it, man, and like seeing that this movie just has some weight on it. So I think that was cool for him to do that. And he's coming off success of Severance. He ain't gotta worry about
Right.
nothing like that. But I appreciate him doing it and seeing what that movie could really do.
Yeah.
Um Now you being a filmmaker, yeah, you are a filmmaker.
Right.
What did this amp you up to really like, okay, like this dude telling stuff on a high level. I really want to like go in deep into my storytelling and like tell stuff like this or do something different like this. What did you give? Did it get you like the juices going when you saw what he was doing in this movie?
100,000%. Seeing this movie was just definitely inspirational and seeing how he was able to execute it with he really didn't use that many locations. He didn't use that many actors.
Locations?
That, like, from a filmmaker's perspective, is like he did the most with the least. And that really, really got me thinking like, what's better stories I could do that's self-contained and new and don't have too much. You don't need this. You don't need all these flying around the world and special effects. You got some basic makeup and a great story and make a phenomenal film. So it definitely got me wanting to just focus on story more than anything. Because really, this is a story-driven film. This is a story-driven film. He made this film in like a field in a barn. you know,
Yeah. And it's crazy because it cost $90 million to make. It's almost $100 million movie. and really, it just have this, like, smaller budget, but and I'm glad it was a smaller budget movie because that's what you need these days to take on smaller budget stuff, but telling unique and interesting stories with it. So, that's why I was just like, "Okay, Dale's a filmmaker. He saw the movie, did it?" Because it made me wanna like, "Yo, I wanna make something now." I was like, "Yo, this is like."
Is inspirational for real. Yeah.
Did you see this in IMAX or did you see it in regular theaters?
I've seen it in the RPX. It's like it's not IMAX, but it's like the big screen. I wanted to see it in IMAX, but I was just wanted to make sure I got to see it before we met up. So
I was told by a lot of people that I should see it in IMAX because there's things in IMAX that it caught things that you'd be like, "Oh, wow."
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like mind-boggling type things. So I definitely wanna see it again. And
yeah,
how you feel about Warner Brothers giving Ryan Coogler that deal? Because if there's some filmmakers that don't even have the rights to their movie. In 25 years, he gonna be able to own the rights to this movie.
I think that it is a phenomenal thing. Is a wonderful testament, and it's showing the faith that they have in him, and it's gonna make him do so much more going forward. It's gonna change the landscape of movies and how deals are done. I think for sure it's an exciting time, put it that way. It's an exciting time. I think it's changing the game. We're gonna hear more about these deals, especially when you hear about how these rights issues get so bad. Like, Superman is going through like a rights issue with the family, the people like these type of things do come up, and that sometimes these studios milk these properties for years and the people who made them don't get anything. But now with them actually having some skin in the game, they're going to take their craft a lot more serious. I think it's going to be that much more important to do a great movie if you know you and your family going to get the rights back later, and that's going to be your livelihood. You're going to really make sure your joint is done. Is a banger.
He did something that Sylvester Stallone can't even do. You know, it hasn't even done. Sylvester Stallone still fighting for the rights for the fight.
Yeah, still fighting for the right seat. Yeah, I think that was a great thing and a great idea. And everybody's not going to be able to do it. Everybody's not going to be able to do it, but he can do it, and the people that can do it, it's going to be a game changer.
You know, do you, because they swapped this movie, right? Because originally this movie was supposed to come out in March, but they swapped it with Mickey 17.
You know.
And I was like, I still think the movie would have still had the same results. I just wished it would have came out in March instead of now. 'Cause that was around my birthday, so I wanted to see it around that time. But I'm glad it came out. I just like I kind of get why they did that because they knew this was like close to being a summer blockbuster type of thing. Where Mickey 17, they wasn't really sure about the movie. They don't really know what's gonna happen with it, which it didn't really make a lot of money.
Right.
So they took a big gamble swapping them out and it worked.
And I feel like they took a gamble too because isn't 28, what is it, 28 weeks, 28 years later?
28 years later.
Is right, right there. And it's kind of like, oh, you're gonna drop. This is not October where we have those type of movies just coming out back to back. You're gonna drop a vampire and then what you call a zombie film, like those clothes. That's kind of competing. So I was like, yeah, that was an interesting idea for them to do that.
I want to go back to that scene real quick about where the Asian woman told him, "Come in, motherfuckers." I was like, damn, bruh, in what real time you going against like 40 or 50? There had to been like 20 vampires that was made.
Definitely, yeah.
Did none of them, like, all of them could have just scattered on top of all of them and just bit everybody. Like, in what real world did you see that? It wasn't like, a lot of people I compare this movie from Dusk to Dawn. I don't know if you've seen that movie or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely that's the dog.
Uh, mm, in Dusk to Dawn, I thought Quentin wrote that movie. I liked how they had it to where even though they were surrounded by so many vampires, they had holy water all over the place, squirt guns. George Clooney had this like thing, power driver thing with the
Yeah.
wood on there, which was stupid, but it just looked cool. Because in reality, he ain't gonna really just be all day. Because a damn vampire gonna jump on his back and try to bite him while he drilling one. So that was stupid. It just looked cool. Um, what did you think about that scene, bro? Like, on a realistic level?
On a when it happened, I automatically thought there's no way anybody can make it out of this because I was thinking with the end, and then I seen a little bit. I kind of felt like I could be wrong. Only seen it once. Want to see it again, but I kind of felt like there was other people that weren't vampires that showed up in that scene fighting vampires. That where did this all from? Did you see that too? I was like, these people wasn't there, and they fighting vampires. So yeah, I was like, because originally I'm thinking it's like 5, 6 people. There ain't no way. And then I see it, some other people. I was like, well, maybe there was more people back there, so maybe it's not that disproportionate. But that, yeah, that was definitely a little weird. It was a little weird.
Another thing, Haley Seinfeld was invited in the first go around, so I didn't understand it because she was invited in and she bid Michael B. Jordan, whatever. But I was under the impression like once she was invited in, she could come in anytime she want to.
Right.
So why couldn't she go back in there where she was already invited in?
Right. Yeah. I don't.
Or
I don't.
wouldn't it made sense if she came back in some type of way and made sure all her people like maybe like grab the little Asian chick and choke her out and make her say let everybody in, and then just like, she just said it did, wouldn't that made more sense? Cause she was already invited in, so why she couldn't go back in there?
Yeah, I don't know how that exactly worked, if they could get re-entry or not, but if they could, I would say the only reason, and this is just me speculating, if she didn't was because last time she was in there, they didn't throw that water and burnt her face and sent her packing, and she probably might have thought she would have got killed because they was already weaponed up at that point. Like any one vampire that stepped in there, they probably would have killed them immediately because they was kind of prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, cause like I said, there was just a lot of questions with this
Yeah.
came to. Again, I wanna see the movie again, bro. Like I wanna see it in IMAX.
Yeah, I want to do IMAX. I'm gonna do IMAX.
Mm. I don't know, man. Like, I think we covered everything. It was just a really well put together film, and I think this is gonna be one of the movies that's gonna stand the test of time. Like
Yeah.
how most vampire movies get made. And hey, yo, shout out to film for real filmmakers like Ryan Coogler and Robert Eggers that's bringing back vampire lore the right way,
The Rock. Yeah.
not the sparkly vampire that we get and
It,
like, cause it's crazy how this movie came out, but like 3 months ago, we had got Nosferatu.
yeah.
So, yo, vampires making a comeback. I just wish that we got a proper werewolf movie. If you're gonna bring back monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the Wolfman wasn't it.
I knew Universal was gonna try to do it at one point, but it kind of failed with the Mummy with Tom Cruise. As they were gonna try to bring all of that universe back, and it didn't work out well. But we need people who do it right with the good stories, not cheesy. Like this. This is probably the most entertaining vampire movie I've seen in a long time. A long
Yeah. It's way better than Nosferatu. Nosferatu was like a ripoff on Dracula anyway.
Yeah.
We got that already.
Yeah.
So, but what would you what would you rank this as far as like vampire movies? Like I know you seen a lot and I seen one too. Is it in your top five?
I know I just seen it, so I don't want to speak too soon because it's still fresh in my head.
Yeah.
And I do have the little gripe that this is a vampire movie, but it just doesn't seem like a
No,
vampire. Yeah, you know what I mean? So just off of that alone, I probably wouldn't put it in my top vampire movies because it's just not exactly a vampire movie to me. It's a movie with vampires in it, but it's not a vampire movie to me. If these characters were swapped out for anything else, if they called them anything else, I would have been fine with it, and I wouldn't have been like, this should have been a vampire movie. So I don't know. It's not in my top as far as vampire movies go, but it is a great movie and a movie that I really enjoyed and liked. But I feel like some movies do vampires so much justice. Like this film didn't really go into a lot of the lore. They went into what kills vampires, the basic stuff. But they didn't really build on it. And the movie wasn't focused on first, what, hour and 10 minutes? There wasn't even any vampire anything in it.
Yeah.
So I can't really give it that much credit for being a vampire movie, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. So yeah, nah, maybe not in the top five. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Not right now. Only time can tell, right?
Yeah.
It's it it's in its own lane, I would say, because it's kinda hard to put it in a genre.
Yeah.
It's like I was telling someone, and I said in my review that it's like From Dusk to Dawn meet like the Color Purple without the Seeley storyline.
Yeah.
It just there's the setting of it, like it looks the culture, the time period. It got the Color Purple vibe to it. Uh, but it's not like it's not that, but it's just like they just blend the world together, and it's just like it's just its own thing. Um,
You know what's
yeah, my
another
I can tell. Go ahead.
uh what is the name of this movie? I believe it came out on Netflix. It was like a black western.
The harder they fall.
Yes, I think that is what it's called. It's like that with vampires to me. That's what it's like. Like that with because they had a strong story. They had the things with the church and the family and all these characters knowing each other somewhat, and it had all of that in it. And like the first hour of that film reminded me of that, and then the second hour was a vampire film.
Yes, yes, yes. Mm. Yeah, yeah, I can't somebody asked me like where I rate this. That's like I don't know because it's still fresh. It's
Yeah,
still very new. I don't know what to put it in. I mean, I told my dad about this movie. He went to see it the same day and then called me back like, "Yeah, that movie good." I said, "You saw it today already?" Because I mentioned key things in it there. I was like, "Hey, I just got done seeing a movie called Sinners." He was like, "What is that?" I said, it has Michael B. Jordan in it, and it's like From Dusk to Dawn, but it's like in a juke joint instead of like in a club."
yeah.
And yeah, I told him it's like a mixture of Justin Dawn and Color Purple, and it has vampires in it. Oh, that's right up my alley. He see it right then and there. I was like, damn, that was quick. And he told me he loved the movie. He said my mom said he can't stop talking about it.
Oh yeah, was it?
Yeah, I can't knock it. It was a good movie. And I'm telling everybody, like, I think with you and me, we're different. So I think some people may get scared of it because my one of my coworkers was like, "Yo, there was some jump scares in the movie." But I was like, but I said, I guess to a normie, it could be scary to a normie,
Yeah,
for somebody that don't watch a lot of horror movies.
right. So that's the same thing out some people. They're like, "Well, this is a horror." I'm like, "Yeah, technically it's a horror movie, but it's not like how you think of horror movies. It's not that. It's not the same. It's not a lot of jump scaring in it. It has a little bit of blood and stuff, but it's not like super gory either. And it's it's on a lower level when you put it to those things.
It has so much in it. It's damn near like a musical. It's damn near like you know, like a like a civil rights movie. Damn near like doing in that time. It has so many different things, and that's why I like seeing stuff coming from like people of different ethnicities doing filmmaking because they're bringing elements of their culture into it. Even from Dust to Dawn, like Robert Rodriguez is Latina, he's bringing all this elements, this
Yeah,
mariachi type things into this movie, and but also it's like this western, this film noir crime drama mixed with horror. You know what I'm saying? So this is like kind of like in that same vibe. You got this film noir, like kind of like time period piece with a hint of crime drama in it, but not that much. And then it has this horror aspect to it. So it just has this different blend of things mixed into it, and it's just hard to put in a category.
yeah. And putting all that together, it could have been a steaming pile of trash. If someone just told you that before that film was made, you'd be like, "This sounds confusing as hell. I don't know how that's gonna work." but for some way he managed to make it all work.
He managed to make it all work, man, and I think it was a well put together movie. Yeah, this is probably gonna go in my top 10 best film of the year. I don't think there's a lot of other movies we getting this year. You know, we got tons of them, tons of movies that's coming out, but I don't think nothing that's like original gonna quite top this from a master filmmaker.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. We don't see it yet. I don't see anything that I'm anticipating that's original where I'm like, that's probably going to be the one. No, yeah, and even from the big studios and the franchises and the IPs, we got some decent things that look like they're on the way. But this kind of takes me by surprises. I think it's going to be hard for something to surprise me like this.
The only thing I think that may give it a run for his money is that 28 years later. That's the only thing that I could think of that gonna probably give
Yeah,
it a run for his money.
yeah,
And old boy is in there too.
yeah,
Jack O'Connell. Yeah, he's in there too. So that's the only thing that I see that's gonna give it a run for his money. But outside of that, um, no, like I know the guy from Barbarian got a new movie he teased us with called Weapons. What did you, on a side note, what did you think about that new Marlon Wayans movie that's getting ready to come out that's produced by Jordan Peele?
was it him? Him.
Yeah.
The trailer was interesting, but I have no idea what that film is going to be like. Like it, it, it. But this is things that Jordan Peele has involved with on a trailer aspect. You never really know what you're gonna get. You never know what you get. So I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it made me like want to jump for joy and go pre-order a ticket. But I'm interested. I'll just say that it made me interested. But like when I seen the trailer for Get Out, wasn't excited about it. I seen the trailer for Nope, I was very confused. The trailer for Us, I was a little excited about Us, but besides that, the trailers that Jordan Peele and stuff, I know he didn't direct this one, but yeah, it was just like it could be interesting or it could not. It didn't really do much for me. I felt like Marlon Wayans seemed like he's trying to change his uh how people perceive him with this role.
I think most people don't know Marlon had done some serious roles before. Like if you look at Requiem for a Dream, like if you go back and watch the
Yeah.
movie, like that was a really great performance from him, and that wasn't a funny movie at all. In fact, it's quite depressing. I don't. It's one of the movies I may have watched like every other so. It was him and Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly in that movie, and it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, bro. It's one of his better performances, and that just showed that he can not do really goofy comedy, but he can really take it there when a dramatic role if something's really well put together. So I think this will be for people that don't know that Marlon can do dramatic stuff. This will be a good introduction to them, and maybe go check out his other body of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like even I mean, as corny as the Sixth Man was, it still had some traumatic scene. You got the that was a good movie too. So but, I don't know, him is like to me is looks like it's gonna be like that stuff that we always hear about, like celebrities selling their souls for fame and fortune, stuff like that. So I think it's gonna cover that aspect of
I'm
things.
hoping it has some good twisted stuff in there. Like I hope they put some things in there that's not too predictable. So that's all I'm hoping for. So
Yeah.
and I hope they have a good ending. Because sometimes with these movies where these guys get too artistic and then the ending they just do something and you're just like, what kind of ending is this? Like what? And I'm speaking of M Night Shyamalan mostly. He does that a lot. He does it a lot. He start giving you a great movie and then he just starts trying to doing something else.
Yeah, yeah. But nah, man. Yeah, Sinners is a testament of time, and it's a movie that I think we really need that right now. I've seen some white reviewers about, how the allegory that all white people are bad, and I was like, I don't think he was saying that. I think he was just saying that European white folks are bad. That deals with racism are bad, but he wasn't saying like all white people are bad. And yeah, it was a white villain that was the bad guy, but he was a bad guy that at least spoke on harmony and was trying to train people together in his own twisted way.
Yeah. He he
The
he was speaking of unity in his own way under
In
his.
his own way, in his own way, and also it bridged the gap to show the comparisons with Irish and blacks and the struggles that we went through. So it that was a comparison with that as well. So I think like you kind of like see the correlation with that with both of those races. So I think that he did that very well. And yeah, man, this movie was great, bruh. 9.5 out of 10 for your boy. It's almost a 10. It's almost a 10. But then again, like I want to see it again and maybe my views will change. Maybe I'll go ahead and give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
What you thinking?
I'm still at a 9.5 because a 10 is just so much, but I'm definitely gonna watch it again, and maybe I'll pick up on some of the things I missed and might reach a 10 for me, might go down to a 9, but right now it's a 9.5 for me, for sure.
Man, yeah. But yeah, dude, I think we covered everything for sinners, bro. Like, man, I got nothing left to say. Just tell people to go watch the movie if they haven't seen it. And
Go watch it.
it's an experience for sure, for sure. It's a really great experience. And you know, I wouldn't say going to this movie to see that it's just a vampire movie or is it just for people that's skeptical, especially white people that think it's like, oh, they just trash white people in this movie. No, 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 it's not. It's not none of that. Go watch. It's so watch it. It's not teach you anything. What it is teaching you some things that you probably didn't know, but it's just interesting to see different stories told from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I'm good, bro. We gotta do this again, man. When man, this movie that you wanna talk about, bro.
All right, we'll do that. We'll see. We'll keep in touch. Everybody, talk with Spear, man. Is there anything you want to shout out though? Let everybody know.
Yep.
Instagram.
And yeah, talk. Go follow me on Talk with Spear. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Real Talk with Spear. That's REEL Talk with Spear. And yeah, check out my videos and support Dale. Go follow him. Look at all the stuff. Look at all the films he's making. And yo, man, I look. I hope this movie give you some fuel, bro. Cause I'm like, yo, okay, like I'm gonna see like what Dale finna come up with now after he's seen it.
Man, appreciate that. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for checking it out. Hit the like, comment, subscribe. Check out Real Talk with Spear, man. Let them know what you think. Let them know if you agree with them, don't agree with them. Make sure y'all subscribe over there. Great dudes. He got some great insights. Drops content all the time. He watches all the movies. He knows everything. He knows everything.
Hey, I appreciate that, Brandon. Like again, go subscribe, go follow Dale, go follow him on social media, and go watch his movies. Support, support, support. We need more edgy film. We need more original filmmakers that's coming out with unique stuff. And I'm glad that Ryan started in the indies and just to see him grow. So I'm supporting all the indie directors that's coming up. So yeah, I support you, bro. So just
I
keep
appreciate that.
hard, bro.
Appreciate that. Thank you. We out of here, man.
Take care, y'all. Peace out.